Alex, what would you call the system the A's live in? It's surely not capitalism.
No, I wouldn't. Who asked that question, Mark?
Mark Thrall.
Mark, okay. Mark, that's an outstanding question. The truth be told, I don't really know, because my experience has been limited to 91 days in their environment. And in that 91 days, I was only in one place, on one floor of a mothership. I didn't see the rest. I didn't experience the rest. I didn't experience their home worlds. I don't know what you would call it. I don't know if any of the acronyms or definitions of each of those acronyms that we use here on Earth would even be appropriate. But let's just review it, okay? And let's see what folks come up with. They have marriage, but at the same time, if a brother or a sister's partner dies, they will absorb the members of those families to their own, and they become one large family. It is acceptable to have children with the dead partner's partner, even though they're not married, but they're considered a unit, okay? Now, the creating of a child, of creating life, can be done either in a lab, where both partners contribute to it, and the baby is born not in a womb, or they can have a natural childbirth, where the woman carries the child. The children grow up, they're at least 5 strands, 6 strands, 7-strand DNA. So their ability to learn and grow is dramatically different than ours. Okay, so we can't compare apples to apples. The children go to school what would be equivalent to us of 150 years, where they are taught all of the sciences, everything that the civilization and the culture knows up until that time. In other words, they don't teach them useless nonsense that's 5,000 years ago, unless it has to do with the history of their race. Everything that they're taught is current time, current time, current time. So when they are ready to move on their own and choose which field they want to participate in to contribute to society, they have all the sciences they know. And they can choose one, and they can do it for 50, 60, 100 years, and then they can change it. Again, they live an average of 1,000 years. Many live 2,000 years, or even longer in the case of Phaseus. Everything that they need in order to survive and to contribute to society as a whole is given to them freely. Their government, if you want to call it that, is made up of elders who all come together at specific times to discuss whatever currently is going on and or directions that they need to go, or information that's being shared that needs to be distributed to the rest of the population. That part I'm pretty fuzzy about. I simply didn't understand it when I was there. It was over my head. Um, they they live on planets. They live above the surface. Um, is an androgynous portion to the Andromedan civilization that lives above ground and below ground. I don't know why. That's just what they do. They are completely whole and self-sustaining colonies, planets. They don't have truckers shipping anything in. Whatever it is that they need, they grow. And everyone participates, shares in the abundance. And apparently they always live in abundance because they would never accept anything else. Medically, the only times that I've heard that someone would get hurt or injured is when they were on a science expedition and they would come across something that they simply weren't aware of or they didn't know how to deal with, or they were in an environment that completely surprised them. But they can repair the body very easily, quite easily. The Yays on a whole are fruitarians. They grow fruit like we grow vegetables, and whatever the components, the nutritional components are inside those fruits, it gives their bodies everything that they possibly need. And I was able to see one orchard on the mothership, and the trees looked like redwoods, and they grew all these different fruits. I couldn't tell you what the fruits were. They were colors we don't have here. In fact, the first time that I was there, they were all black and white. Okay, the colors were all black and white. It was one or the other, because my mind simply did not know how to interpret what it was seeing, because I was seeing it for the first time. In other words, I couldn't see the colors because I had no point of reference to the colors. So my mind created a black or white. And it took a long time for me to adapt, weeks and weeks. This was also true of life forms that were in the park areas. Each level, I'm told, had a very large park area. The particular park area where I was 21 by 21 miles. And there were apartments, housings surrounding them. And in the middle, they were just these incredibly gorgeous parks, like a Central Park or Agora Hills. That was always one of the first places that I thought about in Calabasas, between Calabasas and Malibu. It's just an absolutely beautiful area with rolling hills and trees and wildflowers and all kinds of different life forms. Many of those I didn't see until my third or fourth week, because my mind simply didn't know they were there. It didn't recognize any of it because I wasn't exposed to it. My mind didn't know how to process what it was seeing. And I know that sounds strange. But it took a while. I made a lot of mistakes. Not intentionally, which they knew. It was an amazing time. It was a very hard time, but it was also an amazing time. I put a lot of pressure on myself because, you know, uh, I wanted to represent the best of humanity because I was aware that the history of our planet had been shown to a lot of the younger Andromedans. And my first interaction with the children was not at all positive for me. So I always made an effort to rise above, to do more. But it was difficult, especially when I couldn't see things that were right in front of me. But they understood. They understood that I was seeing things. I was in an environment for the first time, and my mind just simply didn't know how to process what it was seeing. Been a lot of learning curves this lifetime for me. A lot of learning curves. But that's what I know. They're an amazingly happy people. They're a very authentic race. They let you know right off the bat if there's something going on they don't like. If you're thinking something that they're not comfortable with. They'll let you know right off the bat. And you always know where you stand, and there's real strength in that. There's real honesty in that. It keeps you real 24/7, or whatever the hell it was when I was there. So whatever your thoughts are on that, I'd be happy to hear. I don't know what kind of a civilization you would call that. They always seem so healed, so genuine, so balanced. Everybody knew what they were doing. Everyone respected each other. I didn't see any cussing. There was no road rage. Okay. There were no gangs, none of that. And if you moved, I think if you were to move against one of them, it would be a move against all of them. And then you'd have a real problem. So, you'd find yourself floating home in space. No shit. Out the airlock. That's all I got.